pretty good. And we went through the rise and the fall of the fun real estate market that everybody got to go through in '04, '05, '06, and then '06 to 2010, 2011. And through all that, we had started our own title company in 2009, Cardinal Title Group, which kind of got some of our wheels turning. And then 2011, we shifted the whole way that our company ran into a 100% base brokerage with transaction fees. And we started to recruit. And my dad he really founded the company with this idea of paying it forward and taking care of each other. One big happy family. We always call ourselves one big family, and it's family owned. And let's kind of push that through our core. Well, he started to recruit well in 15, 16, and came to me and said, Donnie, I need help running this company. And, we're getting to a good point. We got about 800 agents at this point. And so I set aside my real estate team and joined him and became our COO. And at that point, I really became focused with my dad, and I were really working together tightly. And he had kind of grown this great culture of family and pay it forward and take care of your realtors. And I wanted to continue that. But what we wanted to do was build a lot more tools around it. We were getting to a good spot, financially, but the knock with some 100% companies is, well, you get what you pay for. They're just going to let you keep your commission and then sit in the corner and not talk to you. But we wanted to be everything different than that. We wanted to be hyper focused on education and tools. And I'm sure we'll talk about all that stuff. But so I started building a lot of this foundation with Danny and some of our staff here about, all these tools that were going to help us become this great company and let everybody keep all their commission. And was going to be, our focus to really take care of realtors. This was a realtor run company, by realtors for realtors, that I thought we could have a different message. My dad started it, and I've now continued it with, it's never about kind of what I can take from your pockets. How can I make more money off you? But how can we make you better? How can we make you love our company, feel loved, create more business, grow as a company? And so that's kind of where we got to. And our growth really started to take off once we were big in building this foundation better and better the last couple of years. Today we're at 3,900 realtors, which is been pretty awesome. We've added 125 already in January. It's January 27th or 24th is the last time I checked a couple of days ago, but it's we're averaging about 100 agents a month, and it's been amazing. And we are up to about 30 offices now, 19 in Virginia, 1 in DC, and then 10 in Maryland. So we span about 2 hours south of here, and then about 2 hours north of here. And our headquarters is kind of our circle of trust right now, or our circle of that we're going after. So it's been really fun. And the really cool part about that growth, because you're going to say, William, how do you add 100 realtors a month, right? Well, I think the really cool part about it is that 85% of our growth comes from current realtors in our company referring people out. Today I've talked to probably 10 different realtors, and all of them's like, I talked to such and such. I talked to such and such. They say, I've got to talk to you. This place is great. So I think in creating that culture that everybody, it's all about the realtors, it's all about you all, has really just been a tremendous for us. So it's a little bit kind of how we got here, how Danny and I got together. Danny built the culture and the love that I wanted to continue. And I've really kind of helped take that ball and run with it. In 2019, so about a year and a half ago, I became our CEO, and now I kind of run everything as far as all the operations, the day-to-day. And I do talk to my dad a lot on, big picture strategic stuff. And he still pops in once every 2 weeks and runs the sales meetings with me, because everybody loves Danny. He's got he's got a personality that everybody loves, and we love to put him on camera because he's my eye candy. We always joke, I'm just up there to talk shop. He's up there as the eye candy. So we have a good time.
It's very cool to see a father-son be able to work together professionally like that, and build something so successful. And I want to just jump back a couple steps, and I appreciate that.
I put a lot on you. Sorry there.
No, that was, hey, it makes my job easier. I just, sit here and let you go. So obviously you grew up in a real estate family. And I love your motto, that yours and your dad's, for agents by agents. So you both sat in that seat as an agent, and that's, what you look to build a brokerage. So how did that early experience as an agent from both your dad's and obviously your perspective sort of help you shape and understand how to build a brokerage and understand what agents need? And why do you think most brokers miss that? Because most brokers were originally agents, but somehow it was when we were talking, you said, a lot of them just think of it as a profit center, and it's
Yeah.
how many fees can I add and this and that.
Right. And I think what's happened so much, really, to be honest, is it's become tough out there. We started to feel it, for me, and that, how I got into it. I think growing up in high school, you never really want to do what your parents do, right? My parents want me to join the company. Well, that's the last thing I want to do, right? But it's actually a funny story, and hopefully he's not watching, so he won't get too upset. But I like to tell a story.
Don't worry, we can send him the recording.
Yeah, you can cut him out if it does. But so my now wife Meredith, who's we've been married for 16 years. We were dating, and I was gonna be a teacher and a coach and a high school coach. I love sports and was already coaching high school football. And one of my buddies, and I won't mention his name, my dad had already recruited to sell real estate, because my dad, if he meets anybody on the street, give him 10 minutes, you're going to be starting selling real estate and joining our company, and you'll be making millions in no time, or at least he'll convince you will be. But my buddy started selling, and he had done good. We're 22 years old, who's got two nickels to rub together then. And Meredith looked at me and goes, such and such is a knucklehead, and he's making tons of money. Maybe you should do that. So I was like, well, you got a point. He is kind of a knucklehead. So let me try. So I jumped into real estate. That's how I got into it. So I want to tell a funny story there. But why do other companies lose sight of the B realtor, for realtor? Because they were all realtors once, a lot of them, right? I think it's tough, in this real estate industry, and a lot of people out there might be watching that are realtors, and we got greedier and greedier as time went on, as realtors, because we work hard and we close these transactions, and we work day and night, and we're slaving over contracts and sellers and buyers that are unreasonable, and we can't, we got the inspection list that comes over. It's got 52 items on it. We got to figure it out and try to get everybody to get along. And I think we started to get 70-30 used to be a great split, then 80-20, then 90-10. And I think all this upward pressure on commission splits has really squeezed brokerages and made it tough to run a successful brokerage, and not just us. I mean, all over the place. This isn't rocket science to people, but I think along the way, brokerages had to find other ways to try to make money. If they were going to keep their top realtors, they had to give them better and better deals. So I think some brokerages like, well, how can I squeeze more money out of them here or here or here, to get by? Because I got to pay this manager and this manager and this bill and this bill and this bill. And I think by having our title company, I think that helped a lot, because we were able to really make a lot of money over here on this other business. We wanted to create, once we stopped worrying about, can we make it at Sampson Properties? Is this the bottom line? Where it became all about, let me focus on pouring into realtors and helping them succeed. The rest will take care of itself. As we've grown, our capture rate and how many people use our title company has actually gone up. You would think it'd go down as you add more agents, because it's tougher to keep more people happy and using their title company. But it's gone up because we focus more and more on the realtors, and more on giving you more tools and giving you more customer care specialists and giving you more classes and education. And I think as we pour on the services, people are like, I just want to help Sampson out. I just want to be a part of this team. If I keep using the title company, we keep growing a bigger, better team. So I think at some point we really bought into that hook, line, and sinker, and stopped looking at, could I make a couple more dollars here? Could I charge them 50 more cents for that brochure? Could I charge them $50 more for that transaction coordinator? But let's make everything as doable as possible, because in the long run, if you sold 5 houses last year, well, if I can help you sell 8 or 10 or 12, then we're all going to get better. Yeah, I'll get a couple fees. Hopefully you'll be so thankful you went from 5 to 12 houses that you'll use our title company as well. But more so, people are going to call you and be like, how do you like working at Sampson? You're going to be like, I love it here. It's great. They love me. They take care of me. They're appreciative. And I went from 5 transactions to 10 because I use this tool in this class and this class. So I think I can't really speak for why people lose sight of it, but I think that it is tough, because I get it from both sides. Agents want to keep all their money, but then they want all the support. Well, how do you pay support? I talked to somebody today. I said, look, for a brokerage to make it, I got to make money from somewhere. And most people say, I've got to get it from you, the agent. Well, if I don't want to take it from the agent, I got to get it from somewhere. So that's where it's this push-pull that brokerages have got to find a way to succeed, take care of their agents, but not take all your money out of your pocket to do it. And I think we've we've hopefully found a win-win circle here that's working for everybody.
No, it's an interesting approach, and it's certainly shown effective in terms of that number stands out to me that 85% of your new agents are from internal referrals. Must make your
Pretty
job
cool,
a lot
right?
easier. Very cool.
I always joke that's the one that helps me sleep at night. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of things you worry about when you run a company with 30 offices and all these things, and you're like, oh, am I doing this right? Am I doing this right? How can I do this better? But at night when I think about that 85% number, it makes me feel really good, because that's my number one focus is create a company that realtors love working for and they feel cared for. The rest of it, look, people have grace. If they know that's where your heart is and that's where your focus is, and that's where Danny and I's focus is every day, the rest of it, a lot of it will take care of itself, right? We'll get better at transaction coordination or this or that. We'll get better at these things every single day. We'll make sure that we've got the office with, oh, we didn't get furniture for this. Look, all that stuff's it's gonna all come into place. But if they can feel your heart is for the realtors and their success and making them better, the rest is going to take care of itself.
Now, when we were talking yesterday, you mentioned something that was interesting. So you sort of head up, you said your dad's on the building the culture and the motivation side, and you're the execution guy. You're like, what tools can I provide my agents, whether it's education, technology, that kind of stuff. And you said something that really resonated with me. A lot of agents will go to a firm and they'll say, hey, we're going to shoot you, 20 leads a week, 50 leads a week. It's all going to be from outbound marketing or some wacky algorithm that you don't really understand, but hey, they're leads and I don't have to do anything. So that's great.
Right.
You stress that, yeah, I could do that, but then the algorithm stops working or the strategy stops working and I'm out of leads and my agents are out of leads. They're happy. They leave. The brokerage goes out of business. So you want to provide agents with support, but you spoke about teaching them how to be self-sufficient. So not just providing for them, but giving them the tools to generate their own leads, to understand how to market better. Can you go into a little bit more information, the combination of, you spoke about the education side of it, and then also just sort of the internal resources, something as simple as like having the in-house printing that you mentioned.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think that's a great analogy. And, I'm not knocking any of the websites out there that you buy leads off of, and individual agents can do that. But, I always hesitate to building a business model is one thing. You can sell real estate and sell a couple homes, but you want to build a business model that can be successful long-term, right? If such and such a website changes their pricing, well, now all of a sudden our whole business model is out of whack, and I could feed you, 100 calls and hopefully 3 of them work out and you just sit around waiting for the phone to ring. Well, that's all fine and good, but I'd rather teach you how to fish. I teach you how to fish, you'll eat for a lifetime, and you'll eat forever. And so that's what we're really focused on. We teach probably anywhere from 60 to 80 classes a month. You log on to our internal website now. There were 5 classes today going on that you could jump into, virtually take, obviously, because of COVID. And a lot of the stuff was in person in all the other offices before. But it's, the one benefit to this is that people can take more classes than they would have before, right? When everything was in person, you could only do 1 or 2 things a day and you had to drive there. But now everything's virtual and everybody's used to that. So we're obsessive about teaching classes, and not just, and look, it's fine. There's a place for CE classes and that kind of stuff, but classes that'll help you make more money, prospecting classes, how to do open houses better. We did a whole series on how to win a bid. We do multiple offer workshops, which around here, everything's 10 offers and competing for everything right now, and 25 offers and 32 offers and craziness, right? So we teach classes just on how to win bids on the buy side. And then on the listing side, how do you deal with the fact you got 25 offers over? Look, that's as stressful as being on the buy side right now. You got 24 people you're going to upset at the end of this thing. So we teach real life stuff to help you create more clients, how to work your database better. I think people spin their wheels so much on trying to find online leads and try to find new business, where there's so much business just in the people. If I could do it all over again and start my career over 18 years ago, I would tell myself 18 years ago, do a lot better at your database. We know so many more people than we think, and we don't ever market to them. Some of you might a little bit, but market your sphere of influence better, your past clients, stay a part of their lives, 5 calls a day. And there's a lot by referral. I know there's a lot of stuff out there that does that, but people don't do that stuff enough, across our industry in general. We're always like, or you buying leads from here? It's like, how about you follow up with the 300 people that already know you better? You know, spend your time doing that. You'll unearth a deal there better. But so we really want to teach them how to fish with the education. Get back on track here, Donnie. We give out a free KV Core tech stack, which is a tech stack with websites and CRMs and lead generation and, you know, hashtags and squeeze pages and all that kind of stuff. We give that for free to people. We give them free websites for every listing they do, social media training, branding videos, headshots, one-on-one marketing training with all of our people. You know, we've got 50, 60 different postcard templates because we have an in-house print center, like you mentioned. So across the way here, we've got, you know, a big, huge print center with 3 18-foot mammoth guys and 2 or 3 smaller guys. And we do everything in-house. And we do it because it's more efficient for our agents and a lot cheaper. So I give out free postcards for every listing, free postcards for every open house. So this is an example of by realtor for realtors. Any realtor watching right now knows, you know, what's the last thing you want to do on a Sunday from 1 to 4? You know, I want to go watch, you know, wherever you're from, what's your favorite team, William?
New York Giants.
New York Giants. Oh, geez, tough break. Sorry about that.
Rough couple of years, but
so around here, it's you know, we got Chase Young and Washington football team around here now. I guess I still call them the Redskins. I guess I don't think that's allowed though. But you know, we got some Ravens fans, the Redskins around here too. But you know, the last thing you want to do on Sunday is go to an open house, and we all know that, right? Well, if you're going to do one, we know that. So we give you free Facebook ads, 300 free postcards, you know, free marketing to it, an open house app that works. Because if you're going to do it, we want to help make it worth your while. So that's kind of the stuff that unless you were a realtor, you don't know, like, look, it's a struggle, but if I'm going to go out there, let's give you all this marketing to help make it worth your while. So maybe you get 10 people in there instead of 6, you know, or 12 people instead of 4. So print centers, tech stats, education, you know, we have in-house transaction coordinators and marketing specialists that will do all the work for you for super cheap, reduced cost. And we let people pay for it at closing. Because again, this is knowing realtors, right? Realtors have short arms when it comes to paying for marketing up front. But if you want to take something out of my commission, it's a lot easier, right? You take a couple $100 out of my $10,000 commission, I don't miss it that much. You want a couple $100 from me now? No, I'm not doing it then. You know, so we do that stuff. And again, you know, people talk about profit centers. You know, my coaching program, Lawson, I lose money on. My print center, I lose money on. My transaction coordinators and listing, I lose money on them. I lose money on Facebook ads. Why do I do all these things? Because I think in the long run, I'm going to help them create more business, be more efficient, be more successful, be happier here. But on a pure line item every month, they all look like losses, right? But if it's about a bigger picture, but helping realtors get from 5 transactions to 10 or 10 to 15, then it's all going to make sense in the long run. And if they love working here more, they might have only done the same 6 transactions this year, but they told 4 of their buddies, you got to come work here. This place is awesome. You know, so in the long run, that's kind of the way I have to justify some of the expenses that we do here.
It's fascinating. And I mean, it sounds like I want to come work there. How do you, so, I mean, 60 to 80 classes is crazy. So you're obviously, I'm assuming, constantly evaluating, constantly seeing what's a relevant topic. Is that just you handling that? Are you getting feedback from your agents? How are you keeping that fresh? And also, you know, the offerings that you went through, whether it's the tech stack or the different services, marketing, how are you interacting with your agents to see what's effective, what's not, what do they want more of, what do they want less of?
Yeah, no, it's good questions. So we do have, you know, I've got a great vice president of operations that helps me, and she started as my chief business transformer, you know, and she came from another big brokerage, and you know, at the time 3 years ago, she would have told you, "There's no way I'm joining you," but she sat down with lunch with Danny and I, and she felt our passion for one thing was what sold her. Our passion for being the best education company in the whole DMV for real estate. She felt like we really legitimately wanted to be there. My dad would tell you he thought we were already there. We had a little bit of ways to go, but you know, she wanted to join in. Sarah wanted to join and start a lot of our education, and her and I together started to create classes that we were growing out. Now we have education coordinators and lots of staff that helps teach these things. So we're constantly reaching out to our agents, figuring out, you know, where are attendance numbers? What are people liking and not liking? We just had a whole end of year survey where we surveyed all of our realtors, figuring out what classes did you take? What did you like? What did you not like? What do you want to see? You know, and we're also constantly taking in suggestions from our realtors, you know, about what kinds of things do they want to learn about, and deeper. So we can't teach every single thing that they ask about, but that's where you get a lot of your good suggestions, and one thing we just added, which was really, I pay attention to everything. I read all the different articles, all the different major websites and stuff going out there, but iBuyers and that whole fascination. Well, look, I'm not going to be able to create my own iBuyer platform like some of the national brands, right? But we partner with third parties out there that created a whole platform for us, and we created Samson Instant Offers in like 2 weeks. That's one great thing about being nimble, where it's Danny and I running a company, is like we can say, hey, we need to do this. Let me go meet with a couple of people. I took a couple of webinars, figured out who I liked, who I didn't like, what did I want to do. That thing was implemented in 2 weeks, and we were launching it to all of our realtors, and people are loving it. So we've got our own Samson Instant Offer iBuyer platform, and it took all 30 days to implement, and it's fantastic. So it's stuff like that where being nimble, that we don't have to go through 6 layers of management and franchises to figure out who we're going to make a decision on and ask 20, so that part is really cool. We can make quick decisions. Hopefully they're always good ones, but, so that's a lot of the things that we try to always get good feedback from our agents. We run three sales meetings every month, which sounds like a lot because people are like, sales meetings, I don't want to go to sales meetings, but we don't let people, because I get that question a lot. Are they mandatory? No, they're not mandatory. Don't worry, but watch one and see if you want to come back. So we used to have 100, 150 people in the room. It was awesome. It's the one thing I miss the most about COVID, probably. Well, that's not true. There's other things I miss, but having 100 people in the room, the energy is great. So what we do now is we do our 2 sales meetings in Chantilly, and then I do one in our Maryland, DC offices. But we don't let people stand up and be like, I have a new listing in Washington, DC. It has 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. And those are the sales meetings of the past, right? Nobody wants to watch those, and my dad, God love him, he's fantastic. But one great thing is he's going to tell you if it's boring or not. And if it's boring, then we don't want to talk about it, and I can tell if a topic's boring because about 60 seconds, I can see him fading on me. So we want to keep it exciting. We have fun. As you can see, we joke around with each other, and it's that kind of stuff that kind of builds that culture, is that Sarah and Danny and I run the sales meetings. We joke around together, but we're always pushing to learn more. How's the market going? What's going on here? How can you do better at open houses? How can you do better at marketing? Tons of different suggestions from our team, from us who have a lot of experience, us 3 in front of everybody. And, I think that those things kind of are the best indications of our culture, because people can feel that passion that we have for our agents and their success. And it's never about, hey, well, this is the new charge that we're going to give you. It's always about, hey, this is a great idea, way you can make money. So I think those things really help push our agendas, push our where we're going to go with the education, what tools we're going to add, is feedback from agents. And I think people love that we're available and we're here for your feedback. And we can't promise we're going to do everything you say, but if you got an idea, it's, when I get off this Zoom, there's probably stuff in my inbox right now that people want me to, so I think that closeness to our agents is something you hope to keep. And my dad could keep that forever when it wasn't quite as big. And as it's getting bigger, that is becoming a little bit more of a challenge for me, is, making sure we still stay close to people, and we're doing our best. It might wear me out in the process, but we're trying to run a big, successful company, but also have that family feel that we're right here for you every step of the way.
Well, I remember when we were talking yesterday, you mentioned that you're trying to take advantage of this pandemic and capitalize on some cheap commercial space, because you're a big believer in, you want to be back in the office. I know a lot of people are talking about, everything's going to be remote, COVID or not. And you were mentioning how you want everybody back in the office, and there's a ton of value in that.
Yeah. I think that I may differ from some, and there are some successful real estate brokerages that do it all virtual. And if that's your bag, that's fine. We're big believers in the culture of people. All people, at some point, they got out of this business because they like dealing with people on some level, right? It's not, most people do it because they really are fascinated by houses, so the office culture is something that's great. Even if people work from home, they still want that place they can go and get new juice. Real estate is a lonely business. Any realtors out there that have had, slow weeks, slow months, slow 6 months, they know what I'm talking about. You stare at your same 4 walls in your house and nothing new is coming in. There's no new energy. There's no new ideas. There's nothing. I think a lot of people are probably feeling that right now during the pandemic, where they don't leave much, right? There's nothing, they do the same things over and over again. But if you can go into an office and you can feel our excitement, and you can take a class or have a happy hour or have bagels over a networking meeting or a mastermind class or whatever it is, then you feel more energized. We're so much better all together. There's 3,900 people in my company that have tons of great ideas. One of the best things that we have going on, we have a lunch that goes on every month for the people that do $10 million and more. And it's fantastic, because not that everybody's not valuable, but the $10 million or more people, these people are running successful real estate businesses, and they're all willing to get in together and share all their ideas, what's going well, what's not going. These are, top real estate minds, and at least in our area, I think, that are really successful. So I think that having that office to go to is super important for people to have that culture, new ideas, freshness. I think people love to have their own office, so they can get away. No offense to people's family. Look, I got 4 young daughters. Well, they're not as young anymore. I could never work from home. I just couldn't, especially as they were 0 to 10. If I had $1 for every contract I negotiated walking around my backyard or around my front yard, I'd be rich, because you can't negotiate stuff in the house. I don't care what office you have. You got 4 kids running around and a dog and a wife. And, so I think that people want places to go to do these things. They want to meet their clients in a professional place. I joked the other day, I was like, well, one, for safety, you don't want to meet your clients at a house for the first time. You want to meet them in an office. Or people say, well, I used to meet them at Starbucks. Well, yeah, it's great. You're not even allowed to go to Starbucks to go to the bathroom anymore. You can't meet at Starbucks or McDonald's. You can't even go into Chick-fil-A and get your food anymore. They got to bring it out to you. So, having these offices has been super valuable to keep people going, and I think during the pandemic, we actually went from 21 to 30 offices last year, which people say that's crazy during the pandemic. But I think we found an opportunity. Not only did we want to get into these different areas, but we were able to negotiate a lot better deals, because commercial space is a little bit easier to come by nowadays than it was. And landlords are willing to negotiate a little bit better deals because they want people in there, and there's not a lot of people knocking on their doors. But the other thing we capitalized on was people were home and they had a little bit more time. So we really ratcheted up the, we have live, I was doing live virtual like lunch and learns, because not everybody would come and meet in person. So I was doing recruiting sessions live online like this, where I'd have 20, 30, 40, 50 people log in every week, watch the recruiting sessions. Then I'd talk back and forth with them afterwards, and people could learn all about us without leaving their home. So people were joining. What's great is now I've recruited and talked to so many realtors during the pandemic. I can't wait till it's over. I can go meet all these people in person, because I haven't even met them all yet, which is great. But I think that we used the pandemic as a time that, that we could reach the people that were sitting at home and grow these offices, so we could grow our culture across a bigger footprint, which has been really awesome. And we've been really thankful for it. And, we're going to keep pushing, and hopefully, we'll be able to keep recruiting people with this great culture and great message that we're trying to push across the area.
No, I completely agree. And I mean, I've been working from home, obviously, like everyone else. And I actually have not met a single one of my colleagues in person since I started at Proppy. I started in the middle of the pandemic, and to me, it's mind boggling, because I've been here almost, I think, going on 8 months now, and it's crazy. So I can certainly relate. I mean, I have, as nice as it is to wake up, roll out of bed, and within 30 seconds have a cup of coffee in your hand and be at your computer. I know myself, I haven't left my apartment since 6 o'clock this morning. It's now 1:30 in the afternoon, and I'm going a bit stir crazy. Even though I've been on camera all day talking with people, it's not the same thing. So
right.
I think there's a ton of value in being there in person, like you were saying. And, even I luckily don't have 4 kids running around distracting me, but I could certainly feel myself more energized, motivated, being in a place, being around other people, and that energy. And I'm certainly the type of individual that feeds off of that.
You would feed off that. And I think that and I know you have another question, but I think the other thing I'll point out there is, I think people in general, look, money aside, people want a great deal for their real estate business and all, but they want to work for a company they believe in, and that they love, and they can feel that love from. And I think that's what we're trying to create here. And I think by having the offices and the culture, I think it's easier to love where you're at, and it's easier to fall in love with the culture, and to have people that the people that struggle with coming to us, they're like, Donnie, I really want to come to you. I have all good stuff. The only people that struggle are like, but I really like the people at my other office. They never say, oh, I really like the deal. I really like the people, which tells me that the key is to build up your company with the one another's and the culture, because people can love the tools that you give them and the split that you give them, but if they love the company that they work for and the people that they're working with and the culture that they believe in, then it's much, much harder to ever have them leave your family, because now they have a pride of ownership. Everybody wants to be proud of the place they work. And that's what we're really trying to push every day, is to be more and more proud to be at Sampson Properties.
No, I completely agree. And I've certainly had friends and people I've spoken to, and it's easy to get excited about greener pastures somewhere else in the sense of more monetary reward, regardless of what field you're in. And I think it's easy to jump at that. And it's funny, you talk to people that, they get a good job offer and they're thinking about leaving. And then you start to put it in perspective. You think about the money first, and then it becomes real. And you're like, wait a second, if you're really happy where you are, you feel supported, you really enjoy the people, it might be a little less money, but it's like, do I want to take that risk and go somewhere else where I don't know if I'm going to be supported that way. I don't know if I'm going to be that happy going into my office every day. And I think that that's completely overlooked, and people don't realize it until they either don't have it or they're considering leaving it.
Right. So they money into other companies and deals come and go. But if you're also creating a place they love, then you're gonna have a lot more sticking power and growth power, I think.
Absolutely. Another thing I wanted to get into, and to me, this is fascinating because we talked yesterday about the fact that you're in, obviously the majority of your business is in residential sales, but then you have commercial leasing and sales, investment sales, property management, a whole number of different areas that, again, they're not your core focus, but you're able to have people where that is their focus and still fit within your company culture and support them. So how were you able to achieve that?
So I think that there's a couple of things that we believe in. We got to have some management and some brokers that are multi-skilled and can help people in different areas for sure. And you got to have some good people that are willing to come alongside you and lead the different departments. So they've got some expertise where they need them. But I think what we've always, my dad, and so many things we do now is, my dad had these great ideas from the beginning. I'm just running with them and expanding them. But we have 3,900 independent contractors. And if you've met a realtor that that they're all free spirits and got their own free will and all that kind of fun stuff. But I want to let people have the reins to their own business and be in control of their own destiny. And not me saying you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. We allow people to run their own companies and their own businesses the way we want. We put up some guardrails for our overall reputation to say, hey, look, you got to run them within these guardrails. I'm going to keep them real wide for you, but you're going to put some bumpers on those bowling alley lanes for you to make sure you don't stray too far off task, because we want to keep our reputation up. But if people want to get into commercial stuff or property management or do rentals, people not a lot of people dive in and say, I want to do rentals because I want to get rich. They do them because they want to build up their customer service experience. The same way I pour into my realtors, I look at them, they're my customers. You have buyers and sellers. I have realtors that I want to keep happy. Well, there's a lot of things I do just for the customer service of my realtors. Well, they might want to do rentals to keep their customer service, keep those relationships flowing with their people. So we want to allow them the opportunity to do all those things. And sometimes they come from brokerages like, well, I wasn't allowed to do this and I wasn't allowed to do this. And I had to give this commission or this cut, or I had to do this. Or it's like, look, I want to keep that as open as possible. The money that you make goes into your own bank account. So I want to put you in charge of your own destiny with us. And, if you want to flip houses over here, if you want to get into commercial deals, I'll help guide you there and get you there and provide those opportunities. But you find the lane that's comfortable for you. We're not all going to be comfortable doing the exact same amount of things, thankfully, or we'd all be doing the exact same jobs, right? But everybody in our company's got own free will and they can run their own business within our business and find I've said this before too, and this is marketing too, right? There's 20 different ways to make money in real estate, or 100, right? But let's say there's 20. Well, if you try to do all 20, you're gonna do all of them not so well, and you're gonna keep getting distracted and take your eye off the ball. Find your 3 or 4 lanes and kick butt at those 3 or 4 lanes, and you'll be successful. Look, I can tell you 10 different ways to market and make money tomorrow, but if you try to do all 10, you're gonna spin your wheels and you're never gonna complete anything well and really succeed. So that's kind of the same thing with us. I'm going to give you all the opportunities and you find the 2 or 3 lanes you want to run down and make as much money as you can out of them, and I'll help you get there.
No, very, very cool. So your approach, I guess, sort of what you're saying is in those areas where, you either you're obviously knowledgeable about the real estate industry in general, but there's somebody that might be more knowledgeable about commercial. So you're going to trust them. You trust the person first, and then you're going to give them the latitude to say, hey, we trust your judgment, keep it within these wide lanes and go get it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think as a manager, especially at a place, with 3,900 employees, that's pretty tough to do. Not in the sense that it's actually tough to execute, but tough to get comfortable with. But I think that that's a formula, at least in my experience and what I've seen, that if you can evaluate and trust people and their knowledge and understand that they know more than you, but you trust their judgment and let them have their leeway, then you're gonna benefit from it in the long run.
It's true. And that is tough for a little bit. Now I do have 25 brokers and lots of office managers and support staff that, that I trust them. I trust my realtors, but they also we need a lot of good support to answer their calls and to answer their questions and to try to keep all of our policies in check because, I think all people inherently are trying to do the right thing, but we need people in place to help. I've got, fantastic brokers. And, Mike Briggs, my managing broker, is the best in the business. And, I think when you've got great brokers and great support staff around you, you have more trust to go out there. Because the other thing we have is, people like working there. I don't want to go negative, but we got 2 rules in our company, 2 main rules. It's simple. My dad came up with them, but be nice and be professional. And I know those seem simple, but we tell them to every single person and they're all over the place. And if you're not nice, and you're not professional, you can't play with our team anymore. We don't have room for bad eggs in our company. So, I think that if we see people that are doing unethical things or doing the wrong stuff or not treating people the right way, then they got to get out, and nobody wants to get out. So they have to stay on the fruit and they have to stay on the straight and narrow because, look, 5 or 10 years ago when we were growing this thing, we had to have a little bit more latitude because we needed everybody, to keep making money for us, keep us going. But thankfully, we're in a good spot where we really can play the ethics first. And look, we're all going to make mistakes. I've probably made 10 today. Call my wife. She'll probably tell you a couple of them that I've made today. But if people are nice and they're professional and they're trying to do the right stuff, then they can stay on our team. We'll help correct the mistakes and work from it. But if you're a bad egg or you're doing stuff the wrong way, you got to get out. Our last name's on that company. And that means more to us than anything is having a better reputation tomorrow than we had today. And a better reputation next month and the month after that and the month after that. And the way to do that is to trust people, but to also keep them on the straight and narrow and to take great care of them, but also help them realize, look, you better do things the right way, because if not, then you got to go play somewhere else because our team only takes people doing stuff the right way.
No, exactly. And I can relate to that totally professionally. And played a ton of sports growing up and the best coaches were always the ones, they weren't necessarily your best friends, but they were consistent and they set very clear expectations and, they could come down hard on you, but you knew that you weren't pissed at them if they did, because you knew you deserved it. It's when there's inconsistencies and different rules for other people, then it becomes a mishmash. There's no consistent culture, and that leads to all sorts of issues. Whether it's
absolutely, can you tell the sports background here? How many more sports analogies can I make it in one one conversation?
Someone from the marketing team's keeping track.
I'm gonna set a record for you.
Well, Donnie, this has been great. Before I let you go, I got one more question for you. 2021, where do you see the real estate market going and what is in store for Samson Properties a year from now?
Real estate market, that's $1 million question, right? I think interest rates will stay stabilized. And if they do, I think we'll continue to at least, nationally, I don't know about every single different pocket, but I know about the DMV very well and around DC, Maryland, Virginia. But I think if interest rates stay low, I think the demand will stay real high. I think they need to keep building some houses because we're running out of demand right now. It's an extreme seller's market, around we are. And I think it's that way a lot of places around the country. I'm hoping that there's no sweeping crazy regulations that either open up this thing too wide to let, some of the past mistakes that we had before with, cutting down loans and making it too easy for people to get loans. But I do like good interest rates because we all like to have cheaper money, right? I would hope they keep building more homes so they can keep this a little bit more balanced market. I don't think it's healthy to stay as heavy as we are right now, at least in our area, where it's 20 offers for every house and people giving up every contingency and right they have in the world just to try to win a house, and and people writing offer sight unseen, and that's the market around here. I would hope that it bounces out a little bit. I hope that I hope there's no sweeping changes regulation wise that messes us up too much, because I think things are really going in a consistent way. And the housing market's good and healthy. A lot of things in our economy stay healthy. So all those things are what I hope to go forward. I will say this: I became look, I'm a fairly smart guy when it comes to real estate, but when I got my license in 2003, and we went through this and then this, and I saw so many people. I mean, for years, all I did was short sales and foreclosures and all that stuff, right? So I saw people lose everything. And I think it really got me weary of making too many strong predictions for the future, because, you don't want people losing their fortunes off your predictions, right? But I do think we're going to have a fairly steady market, hopefully with some good growth. For Sampson Properties, I think I'm really just so thankful for what we're building. The growth is great, but the culture is getting better every day. I want to continue to build a great foundation. We're looking to get down into Richmond and some areas down south. Delaware, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia are 3 states we're probably going to be in at some point here soon, and probably licensed there in the next month or so. I think we want to expand, but we want to expand smart. I think that I talked to you about this yesterday. There's a million people coming at me from a million different angles on let's go here, let's go here, let's go. But if I get over my skis and try to go too quickly, too big, I think you can lose what you're about. You can lose your culture. You're not taking care of people the way you want to and the way you should. And I want to be really careful of that. I want to keep our great culture and our great attitude growing. And as we grow, make sure we're doing it the right and smart way. But I'm excited. I think that, I think with the great attitudes and somebody looked at me the other day and said, you gotta have so much going on. Are you tired? Are you happy? And I stopped for a second. I was like, well, let me think about if I'm happy. But I think doing something every day that you're passionate about and feel like you're on the right side of things, you're on the right team, and you're selling something you can believe in, which is a company that will take great care of you, really gets you excited, and gets you fired up. When we started this, I was like, oh, tired. It's been a long day. We're starting here at 4:00 Eastern time. But I think you can tell once I get talking, I get fired up about it, because it really is exciting what's going on with our company. And that passion, I would hope, keeps going and through 2021, and we grow in a great way, in a smart way, and keep the realtors at the focus of our company. I think that's my goal.
Well, I think it's worked up until now, so no reason why it won't keep going. So, Donnie, thanks again. This has been a really fun convo. Best of luck to yourself and the company going forward, and we'd love to have you back again and check in and
that'd be great.
See how quickly you get to the next 1,000 agents.
Hopefully we keep it going. Hopefully when this thing breaks, we'll see you at some conferences someday soon.
Definitely. Can't wait. All right, Donnie. Have a great one, and thanks again for joining us.
You too. Take care.